love happy ending too. I love happy ending too is the poem by Manga Kingazi Mbaga. Listen the poem, dear listeners of teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige. I like poems with happy endings best because I want to be happy and guy. But it is true that night cannot become day. And if we add truth for lies, it is unjust. It is sad. All the same. But I like happy endings best. I hate poems with tragic endings the more. But is it bad to tell when it is painful? When I can't stand any more this cruelty and the heart that is melting my soul, and the shadows that hide the truth, that fought me and killed me, and the star that dances in the sky, in daylight, not in night, pretending. It is sad, all the same, but where are the happy ending in life? Days, yes, days. Are you not tired, comrade, of the boredom of the light? That is never there. This poem is an Ionic poem that was written by Tanzanian poet and teacher Manga Kingazi Mbaga, who studied education at the University of Dar es Salaam. He tries to express his appreciations for poems with happy endings and his dislike for those with tragic endings. However, the poet surprises the readers when he changes his subject abruptly and ends his poem with sad ending addressing the subject of death. The themes employed by the Baga, number one is death or mortality. The main theme of the poem is the subject of death, which is the ultimate final of human life. The poet begins by expressing his interest in poems with happy ending, just to create suspense to the readers before they introduce the most intimidating subject of death. Number two, honesty. Human beings are limited in what they can do. Sometimes it is good to admit human limitation and be honest with ourselves. Number three, disappointment. The poet seems to table a discussion about the real meaning of life. If life can be so miserable, so painful and cruel, if life is full of heat enough to melt one's soul, then what is the meaning of life? The poem is still relevant in our society because the subject of death is still one of the most intimidating subjects that leave many questions unanswered, and many people feel so sad as they lose their beloved ones. Death is still a sad ending in the race of human life. The lesson we learned in this poem: we must know our limitation as human beings. It is better to live a worthwhile life that gives meaning to our lives. One day we shall all die, so it is better to plan how to die a noble death, one that will create a happy ending to those we leave behind. The poem is about appreciation of poems that have happy ending that make the reader gay. At the end, the poet shows his dislike for sad poems that end tragical, but he surprises the readers by changing the subject abruptly and ending the poem with sad ending about death, which is ultimate, final of life. The tone of this poem is ironic as the poet talks about happy ending, but he ends his poem with sad ending. The title of this poem is a modern or free verse poem with irregular rhyming scheme and variation in the length of verses and the number of verses in each stanza. The persona of this poem is a love's poetry. This is revealed by the way he describes his interest in the poem with happy ending that make him happy. The language used in this poem is very simple, one that possesses no end difficult to the reader. The poet employed some poetical figurative language in this poem. Number one is the iron. The title of the poem, I Love Happy Ending Too, is ironic. The poet talks about loving happy ending that would make him gay, but he ends his own poem with a sad ending. Number two, personification. Example, and the shadow that hide the truth that fought me and killed me. The shadow cannot hide the truth, fight or kill somebody. Another sound devices or figurative language is a part of poetic language. Consonants, repetition of similar consonant sound at the end. Example, but the consonant T. But it is true that night cannot become day. Another is rhetorical questions. Example, death, yes, death. Are you not tired, comrade, of boredom, or the light that is never there? Another symbolism. The word poem is in this poem. The word poem is used to represent the life itself. That's the end of the poem analysis. My name is teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, or teacher Kadonj, the Manju of Literature and the young African writers from Tanzania, East Africa. Thank you.